guys got a decent game. Yeah, those start with questions.
Andy, your thoughts on Oregon State's offense? Obviously, at Boise State, you actually seen the quarterback before, but at Utah State, just your thoughts on the offense and with quarterback rings too?
Well, I think they definitely got some explosive players. The offense is always ran by the quarterback. I mean, that's obvious, and the quarterback has been in the system, and run this system, and he does a good job with it. He knows how to make the adjustments, when to make the adjustments. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. And then obviously, I mean, they got a big O-line and big tailback that we're going to have to handle.
You've only got 2 games of film on Garrettson at Oregon State, but last year their quarterback was their leading rusher, but he switched to wide receiver this season. Is it difficult not having tape from last year and only 2 games on him at Oregon State?
You know what? You can see. I mean, you can see what he's capable of and what they want to do with him and stuff. And I mean, shoot. At the end of the day, like you said, Collins 22, and number 6 Victor Bolden. When it's a pass play, they want to get the ball to those guys. I mean, they're very talented wide receivers, and they got some other wide receivers that have some big size that they want to try to get the ball up in the air to those guys as well. And they all get their fair share of touches and balls thrown to them, but 22 and 6 are their guys.
Talking about number 6 Victor Bolden, I mean, how dangerous is he? And I mean, saw him get the ball in his hands at 92 yards.
Yeah, he could roll now, huh? Yeah, he could roll. There's no doubt about it. It pops on film. You can see it. When guys can run, their quickness, it pops. That's what we said. It just got pops on film. I mean, the thing about him too is he's a good route runner. He's a great route runner. I mean, the way he transitions in and out of his breaks, we think he does a great job. So obviously we'll have our hands full with him.
The running back.
He looks more like a old style fullback. What kind of plays they run him with, and how defending somebody like that different than say the guy from Louisiana?
Yeah, no question. 2 totally different running backs. I believe Mike Allstock, way back, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Big physical guy. That's what we see when we turn on the film. Runs behind his pads. And obviously they get the ball to him in the passing game as well. He's got his fair share of touches in the passing game. So a little bit different style than what we saw in the first week. Last week, their running back was a pretty good sized guy as well.
What's impressed you most about Sam McCaskill, what he's been able to do this season? Whether it was, I know you don't coach special teams necessarily, but he blocked the field goal and obviously has 2 sacks ready for you guys. What's impressed you most about what he's been able to do so far?
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's Sam Mack for you. I mean, outside of football, whether it's football, Sam Mack in school, just Sam Mack just being him on the streets, he is an impressive young man. And for him to have the start he's having for his senior year, he's a guy that goes and starts as a sophomore. Tyler Horn comes back his junior year. Tyler Horn plays over him. He still plays. Doesn't ever say a word, just keeps grinding, keeps working. And then for him to have the off season he did, and now to start the season the way he has, it's unbelievable. So extremely happy for him, and obviously he's making our defense better by the job he's doing.
What really changed with him? I mean, I know that you guys had confidence in him last year and stuff, but I mean, just like the way that he's talked about this year, just seems like it's just gone to a completely different level.
I think he did an unbelievable job for him. You're talking Sam McCaskill, like the difference between last year to this year. I mean, the first thing is he had an unbelievable offseason in training and developing himself, even as an older guy. And I think he feels extremely comfortable with what he's doing, within the defense and at his position. He's played interior, inside as a D-line, so on the edge, there's a little more space out there. You're not getting a guard, a guard tackle combination on you as much. So, I think that suits him a little bit more out there.
I think when you think of like consistent players, you have repetition, and I don't know, there's certain times where repetition might get boring. But I mean, can he be an explosive guy that can make? I mean, he's got a couple sacks in the season opener, obviously. But I mean, can he be that explosive playmaking type guy, or how do you view him in those regards? I guess
he has, and that's where I believe his foot speed is definitely picked up, and. Even going back to the bowl game last year, there were a couple clips in the bowl game that we saw and we used for different situations in the off season that pop up in my mind. Where he showed the foot speed that he's playing with at a the consistent rate now. He showed that in the bowl game. And I think what he did in the bowl game is just carried over throughout the off season and obviously into this season.
With the Washington State game, how impressed, I guess, were you with the guys executing the game plan, and certainly kind of you let them have some of the short stuff, and they didn't really get anything in the one long one, I guess. But
yeah, we had a couple explosives. We wish we could obviously do over and take back, in certain situations there. But those are great learning experiences for us. And the plan was we wanted to make them go down the field and earn it. As always, as any team, you got to eliminate the explosive plays. And in doing that, sometimes you're going to give up some of the underneath stuff, and we got to break up and tackle that off and not miss, the open field tackles. But it was awesome. Those guys, they really battled. They prepared really well, and obviously it's good and gratifying to see the smile on their face after the game, knowing how hard they worked to get to where they.
The secondary came in with not a lot of experience at the start of the season. How much does the game against a team like Washington State with so much has really good receivers? How much is that going to help down?
Yeah, no question. I mean, we came out of the game with plenty of things to work on. Good examples, things we can learn from in terms of doing things well, and obviously in terms of things that we got to improve, certain techniques, how we're playing certain schemes. What those guys did in that game, just sticking to it, not veering off the path, and staying to the plan. There's definitely things we got to clean up, but that's one thing as a coaching staff we're really proud, of the defense and how they handled themselves.
Your guy gets pretty fired up. We saw you on the sidelines a lot, previous years going nuts. When Tyler Horton takes that off, are you able to stay in your chair up there in the box then? Or
I was running in place. Can't go anywhere in the press box. It's pretty tight up there, with our whole crew in there. But, no, that was awesome. That was unbelievable. And literally, just running with him, he came down the sideline. We're obviously on in the press box, and it was cool to see it unfold and everything right in front of us. And not only with him going down the sideline and obviously scoring an unbelievable play, but the way the rest of the guys on the field put their foot in the ground and got in position to go set blocks. We obviously want to create turnovers. Our job is to get the ball back. But flipping that mindset into being on offense now, or being a return team at that point.
We've seen that a lot in practice, where when the ball's on the ground, say 2 stripes or whatever, and guys take off, and it did seem like right away the first response of like 6 guys was to go start blocking. Is that mindset that you guys have tried to create, are you starting to see that play out a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. And it's a habit. And at first the guys kind of look at it as funny, like, what are we doing here? We're going blah, blah, blah. And they've seen it. They do it now, and it's awesome. But once again, when you put the hard work in to create a habit, because you're going to create a good habit or a bad habit on every play, and whatever certain fundamentals, techniques you're executing. And so we just kind of try to keep them aware of those things and what habits we're creating, and then when we do those things in practice, how it pays off in the game.
How has the transition been for you to defensive coordinator? And also mentioned, you went from the sideline to the box, and that dynamic's a little bit different too, but how has that all been for you?
Yeah, it's a lot of work, to say the least. It's a lot of work, but you know what? With the coaches we have here and how attentive they are to detail, and and how they work and how persistent they are with their players, and I think they've done a great job, in making things black and white, and trying to eliminate the gray, especially with some of the younger guys we have playing. It's just trying to simplify and make it black and white, and the coaching staff I think has done a great job, and obviously it's our defense and how we work together, as coaches and as players makes it what it is.
Do you miss being down on the sidelines?
It's an advantage. I'll tell you what, you can see a lot. Obviously, you can see a lot up there, and you get a great feel for the big picture and what things that are going on. Sometimes you can probably see too much, though. You get a little upset when you see the littlest things done wrong. But the excitement of being on the sideline and being in and around the guys, not only when things go well, but just being there for them too when the adversity hits and or we're struggling. As a defensive unit, to be there for those guys, to be able to pick them up, which I think our coaches on the sideline are doing a great job of right now. It's something we talk about all the time. What our mentality is going to be like on the sideline and how we're going to operate, not only as coaches but as players, and I think those guys are doing a good job.
Is Tommy your proxy down there? Is
Sorry.
Tommy Smith your proxy basically down there?